What's going on, people? Welcome to the channel where we talk about all things folklore, urban legend, creepy film creatures, whatever. General gist of the channel is we go through these stories, these films, these creepy pastas, and we'll go ahead and give them a ranking on how cooked you really are if you were ever to come across such entities in real life. Which is all bogus, right? I mean, none of them exist, but it's fun to speculate. I'm your host, Nate. So join me on this fucking cuckoo of an idea. And yeah, let's see where this shit takes us. Right, so you're probably wondering why. And for me, the why comes from a story. Now, it's not just any story. This is my lived experience. Now, I was born in Thailand, for those who don't know. For those who do know, or figured it out, fucking well done, because nobody ever does. Do you know, I get Mexican, I get Native American, I get Polynesian, Samoan, whatever. And I can see the similarities, but that's because my gene pool is a bit muddy, do you know what I mean? To say the least. But anyway, so I was born in Thailand, big up, in a small city in the northeast of Thailand. And I'm not going to say the name because you won't ever know, you won't ever find out, you won't ever go there. So what difference does it make? But anyway, I was left with my grandmother. My parents had me when they were young, and my grandmother, bless her, love her with all my heart, she said, fuck you kids, you're not gonna fuck up this kid's life. So she took me into her embrace and raised me as if I was her own, which, you know, I basically am. Yeah, fuck it. Anyway, the point I'm trying to get at is I grew up in Thailand from the age of conception to around the age of 4, in which we relocated to the UK. Well, my mum relocated to the UK and she took me with her. Like how? I should be back in the UK sucks, bro. Anyway, so, you know, if you're wondering why I don't have a, oh my god, darling, oh, darling, I ain't got that accent, bro. So don't, if you're looking for a lady boy, this is not it. I know I've got long hair, but don't worry. I'm one of you, I promise. Anyway, so, you know, from forming such a close relationship with my grandmother, I would get very upset. I would miss her deeply, because for me, my grandmother was home, right? So my mum would fly me back every year. So every half term or summer holiday, so summer holiday 6 weeks in the UK, she would fly me back to Thailand. I'd get to see my nan, happy days, right? So this story takes place on one of those holidays, and I think I was around 6 or 7 at the time, and I did what I was doing. Thailand is a very safe place, right? Even for kids, for the most part, it's extremely safe, and it was even safer back then. So me wandering around on my own in Thailand was no big deal. Here in the UK, I would advise against that. Do you know what I mean? If it's not fucking creepy adults doing weird shit to children, it's creepy kids doing weird shit to children or to each other. This place is a mess. Anyway, hey, I still love UK though, big up. Right, so this story takes place when I was around 6 or 7. Now at the time, I was a fucking pyromaniac. I loved that shit. I loved anything to do with fire. So what I would do is I would walk around with candles that, you know, I would find at the house altar, the Buddhist altar at home. I would take a couple of candles, I would take a couple of incense. And looking back now, it was a little bit rid of me. I should have said. Looking back now, it was bad of me. I shouldn't have done that, given, you know, the cultural aspects of prayer candles, incense, such and such. Now I'm wiser to the spirit plane, or the you know, spiritualism in the most of, in, you know, Southeast Asian spiritualism, wherever. Anyway, so that's what I did when I was a kid. Nobody told me off, so I figured it was alright. Anyway, on one of these days, during that holiday, I did my normal shit. I woke up, wanted to go play outside, Now, granted, my home was, you know, it was a typical Thai home. We weren't well off. We didn't, you know, I didn't ever go wanting, or I never went hungry, but we weren't well off, and nor were the people that lived on my road. And I'll throw up a picture of the yard back there. I don't know, I've got green screen. I don't know how I'll figure something out, but I'll throw up a picture. Anyway, so my next door neighbours, I was very friendly with. The kids were about the same age as me, so we used to play out, but obviously I didn't go to school there anymore. And so these kids were obviously in school. Now, I did go to nursery back then, and I went to nursery, or at the very start of, like, I don't know, year 1, year 2, I was in Thailand. So I was very familiar with the school, and I would walk to school on my own as a child at like 4, I don't know. Either I would walk because it wasn't a massively long distance, or I would go with my older cousin, or I would go with the next door neighbours, because it's just a straight path down to the school. Now, here's where where the story starts to pick up. I know I've been rambling, but you know, I want to set the tone. I want to build the area up to you the way I remember it. Now, so it's a straight shot to school from my house. And on this day, obviously next door neighbours have already gone to school. I'm not enrolled in that school anymore, so I wanted to play outside on my own, and that's what I went to do with my fucking candles. All right. So I've got my gear, and I hear music from behind me. I stepped out of the house. Imagine me small. I am still small. Us Thai people don't get very big. Okay, so I can't be a big pussy, but I can be a little pussy. Anyway, so I hear music, and I turn around, and it's a funeral procession, right? So in Thailand, if a big event is happening, say like a major event like a wedding or a funeral, what they'll do is they'll chuck a bunch of speakers on the back of a couple of vans, and then head to said destination, right, with music playing or announcing that, you know, this person has died. Very similar to how we do here with funeral processions here, but obviously here it's a lot more subdued. It's a lot more formal. You know, you might see a hearse drive past with coffin in the back in the UK, and obviously you respect the fact that somebody has passed, and you know, you offer up a moment of silence. You're respectful. In Thailand, they sort of throw that shit out the window, for the most part, right? From where I'm from, anyway, from my province, it's basically a celebration, which in a way is beautiful, right? Because to me, I feel as though we shouldn't fear death, right? Because in life, it's the only inevitable thing. Now, we should be extremely happy for the moment, for the brief moments that we have on earth, but we shouldn't fear death in a sense, because realistically we should be grateful that we have been given a chance of life in the first place. That's how I see it. But anyway, right, so I turn around, music, people following behind the van, and obviously they're all headed to the temple. Now, here's where shit gets weird. Excuse me. My former school in Thailand, it was a school and it was a monastery. For those who don't know, a monastery, you know, it's where monks congregate, it's where monks do their thing. So yeah, I would have there would be school, and then further back would be the temple, massive, lovely golden temple. Monk sleeping quarters on one side, and a cremation furnace on the other side. I don't know if that's what it's called, but it's where bodies are cremated. Now in Thailand, it's not like how it is here. Obviously there will be facilities like they have in the Western world, but in Thailand it's a massive, I don't know, pylon in the shape of a pagoda, say, or the one that was in my school was a massive cylindrical shape that narrowed towards the top, and the bottom would be a furnace. It's kind of fucking terrifying when you say it out loud, but that's what it is. And you know, for the most part, we didn't have to deal with all that. But obviously, unless you have a death in the family, you're never really gonna experience that. But so yeah, where was I? So I'm going back. Well, I've seen the funeral procession move past my house a little, and I noticed that there's a lady on the back of the van, and she's throwing out sort of like tributes or little candies and sweets and whatever out of a bowl. And obviously people are picking them up. It's almost as if, I'm sure it was almost to say like, thank you for coming to the funeral, or thank you for knowing or being friendly with the person that passed. And it's not much, it's like sweets. Sometimes they'll wrap up like a 1 baht coin, and they'll just throw them out. I don't know, but I knew this, right? And being the little shit that I was, I decided to follow to pick up the little gifts, right? So I'm marching along. Picture a little 6-year-old be marching along with this. I don't know this person, right? But I'm picking up the gifts anyway because I'm a little shit. I've got my little candles and my little incense anyway. So to them, they're probably thinking, "All right, this kid probably knew the deceased." Because to them, like I'm geared up, right? I've got candles or whatever to light up. I've got incense sticks to pray with. So they're probably thinking, "Oh, he's meant to be here." I'm not though. I'm just here for the sweets. Like give me the things, right? Anyway, so we make it to the school, and I'm not paying attention to the school. I'm paying attention to the funeral now, because I see the lady. She gets off and she walks up to the stairs to the cremator thingy, and obviously it's a funeral, right? So I see the picture of the deceased, which they do in Thailand. It's quite creepy. It's like a massive picture, black and white. Obviously it's a formal picture of the deceased. Obviously you have flowers, and this lady is still throwing out these things. Are obviously the crowd is a lot denser now because everybody's made it there, and she's throwing them out to the crowd, obviously to get rid of it before they move on to the cremation of the body. Now me being me, I make it there. I see them doing this, and then I see that there are shitloads on the floor. I'm like, oh my gosh, what a waste. Nobody's picking them up, right? So I sneak on over, and I'm on my knees, and I'm taking these sweets and I'm putting them in my pockets. I'm in a time of my life. I'm like, yes, I'm either gonna get sweets or I'm gonna get cash, which I can get sweets with the cash, right? So it's a win-win for me. And so I'm doing this, I'm not paying attention. I look up, they're doing what they're doing. I pay attention to the portrait of the guy that had died or had passed, whatever, RIP. And I'm not paying attention at that moment. At this point, I'm close to the front of the crowd, and I've just about picked up all the sweets, or everything that was on the floor basically. And I notice, like, I'm on my hands and knees, and I look forward, and there are a few more people at the very front of the congregation, or the, you know, little group of people that are there, and everybody's feet are facing forward, right, as they should be, because they're paying attention to whatever is happening in front of them. So I take notice of this. Everybody's feet is facing forwards, but beside me, in front of me, so here, I see feet facing towards me, and I'm like, oh, okay. I've not paid attention to it that much. Like, I want to just wrap up, get as much of this stuff as I can, and then dip, right? But when I notice that, I stop and I look up a little bit, and so I see feet, and then a little past the ankle, I see the person is wearing white. It's like a white robe. And then I look up further, and I keep looking up, and it's a full white gown. And then look up further, and there's a guy looking down at me, and you know, he doesn't look pissed off, I don't look very happy, but he's looking down at me as if to acknowledge me, as if to acknowledge my existence, to acknowledge that I'm there. He looks down at me, I'm looking up at him, he flashes me a quick smile, and then I look down, I think nothing of it, and you know, I wrap up what I'm doing, and I shimmy my way to the back of the crowd again, and now I'm looking over again just to make sure that nothing more is going on, so I can dip, right? So my heist is basically over. I've looked over, she's not doing anything, and then I look at the picture of the deceased, and I pause, and I'm like, that guy's face is extremely familiar. And then it all clicks to me. Like, I'm like, oh shit, this dude that's just died was looking. That was the guy that was looking down at me. At that, I thought, fuck it. I ran home, told my grandma. Next day, she got a couple of monks to come in and bless me. And you know, thankfully, I've not had to experience any paranormal goings on. Not that I believe that is what happened. Personally, it's probably a case of, you know, heat stroke. That's what I think it was. I didn't eat anything. Probably dehydrated, because, you know, I'm a fucking kid running around in 45-degree heat. I personally think it was heat stroke, but they, you know, who knows? Maybe I did experience something paranormal. Who knows? But yeah, I've not had to deal with anything paranormal since then. But yeah, that's what has kicked off my obsession with the paranormal. Anyway, that's going to wrap up the first episode. Now, the next, going forward, we'll be doing the same thing, but we'll be seeing whether we can survive said activities, or paranormal activities, should I say. So tune in next time, guys. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.